And we're back from our break. And joining me live is the Meteorite gunman himself. I actually just made that name up. But what's going on, Rob Bianchin, joining me from Cabot Guns. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure speaking with you, man. So, man, the Meteorite gun has been all the rage since the episode aired where you were featured in it. And, I'm getting a lot of questions now. I'm actually getting text messages as we speak, just kind of like going crazy about the Meteorite gun. Have you seen any changes in terms of just the overall atmosphere in terms of any excitement over the gun? I mean, has the price gone up? Have you sold it? What's the deal? Talk to me.
Well, it's been a great project for us, and we've continued to get some really great exposure. In fact, just yesterday I got a package from Korea with a copy of Maxim magazine, and they had a 4-page spread of our Meteorite pistols, which was, kind of cool.
Wait, hold on. They have a Maxim in Korea?
Who knew? Apparently there's one in South Africa that is also publishing a piece. We were in the U.S. Maxim 2 months back.
Gotcha.
And, that's exposure for a small company like ours that, you can't buy.
Yeah.
So without a doubt, it's brought us international attention beyond what we would have expected.
Yeah, no, I could imagine, man. I'm still trying to save up my pennies, and hopefully I can have them saved up when you'll still have the guns by that point. Now, I remember when we last, for my last visit, you still had a pretty decent amount of the Meteorite left over. You said you were going to kind of assemble different parts out of that particular set of Meteorite. I mean, have you done that yet, or is it still kind of?
Yeah, we have. In fact, we've chipped away at quite a bit of it. Mm-hmm. So there's small remnant portions, and here's a little chunk right here. And I posted this on Instagram today as an example.
Yeah,
but
I saw that.
We'll never make another set of Meteorite pistols again because it was a massive project. But with some of the small bits, we can make things like triggers, sights, base pad for a magazine, and maybe some pistol grips.
Gotcha.
So as a residue of the project, we got some really cool and fun material that we can build some really awesome custom 1911s with.
So I've got a couple. I had one question specifically. Who was the first person to test fire the gun, and how'd you go about doing that? Was it an actual person shooting the gun, or was it by way of some intermediary?
No, in fact, we debated quite a bit, and the honor fell to the youngest guy in the shop. And
lucky bastard.
He looked at us. He goes, "Man, we were confident it was going to work, but until you shoot a gun made from a Meteorite, you don't know until you've shot it."
Yeah.
So he stepped up and said, "Hey, something happens to me and I go shooting a Meteorite gun, I'm happy to go that way."
Hey,
so
I was actually just thinking about that just now because I'm like, it's a bit morbid, but hey, if you got to go shooting a Meteorite gun,
could be a worse way to go. So we also believe in giving the younger guys, and in this specific instance, the opportunity to be the first, and as a tradition of bringing up highly skilled people from the bottom up, because at the end of the day, Cabot is a company about people, and we're really privileged to have a top-notch team that can build just about anything you can imagine.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because of the age of the Meteorite rock, that technically makes that gun the oldest gun on the planet, no? Or am I missing something?
You could definitely say that.
Huh?
The age of the Meteorite is about the same as our solar system. So Jesus. They project out, we're talking 4.5 billion, that's with a B, years.
Jesus.
So, this is a number that, really is incomprehensible by any token of understanding of time that, we can relate to. So this particular Meteorite, traveled the cosmos for eons before, landing on Earth. This particular Meteorite that we worked with landed in the part of Africa now known as Namibia. Mm-hmm. They don't know when. It was during prehistoric times. But very early on, the ancient Nama people, interestingly enough, before they could mine metals, they would find this iron meteorite and craft implements from it. So the earliest tools, including weapons, that were made from meteorite. So it's pretty interesting. After all this time, we think we've really evolved and changed, but what did we go and do? Build a weapon from it.
Right. Well, artistic weaponry.
Very much.
Yeah.
Now, of course, our object wasn't simply to build an object that would look like a gun. I mean, yes, you can do it, but it had to be fully functional. And you're taking a natural material, right? So this is not the ideal working material. And how do you engineer it? So there were numerous technical challenges. How do you engineer a space rock to withstand the pressures of a 45 ACP? So obviously it was a giant undertaking. We had a really talented team. And every component was a science experiment, how to figure it out. What would withstand the pressure?
Yeah.
And then how do you solve that problem? So we went about, building, for every component that we made on the gun, we made a clone component. So you'd make it from a harder alloy to softer alloys. And then, of course, you had larger questions. How do you take essentially materials made from iron and make a gun that doesn't instantly gall? So there were a large number of very technical questions that involved, quite frankly, some engineering solutions that I'm sure have never been done on a firearm. So the goal was, one, to craft a 1911, and in this case, it was a set of two 1911s, a right and a left-handed 1911, the left being completely inverted. And then, secondly, how do you take it and elevate the item beyond just a tool?
Yeah.
Obviously, a gun is a tool, perhaps the ultimate tool, but how do you elevate it into art? And so what we've done perhaps is crossed into the art field and maybe even fine art. So that aspect was not just slabbing out meteorite and then making components and then solving the structural integrity issues, but how do you extract the elements from the meteorite? So, for example, you have the exterior of the meteorite, which they're called regmaglyphs. They look like a golf ball thumbprint. And, if you think about it, this thing's heat treated by God as it comes in the atmosphere. So that's an element we wanted to show. And then the interior has what meteorite collectors refer to as the Weidmann-Stadin pattern, and that's a crystalline pattern. And that is, art of unto itself, like we talked about when you were visiting.
Yeah.
And it's drawn out through an etching process, and then you can polish meteorite. So you can polish it where it looks like steel that's been polished. So we wanted to incorporate all those elements into different aesthetic aspects of the pistols. And at the end of the day, I think we were quite pleased with the result. The material really had its own will, and you had to draw out the nature of it during that process.
I mean, I was very satisfied with the process. I almost quit everything that I do now because, that bucket list check, we're good to go. Really quickly, we got about a minute left. Can you talk to me about what you have planned in the future? Is there anything on the horizon that you're working on that you think I might want to know about?
Yeah, sure thing. Everybody thinks we only make these ultra premium pistols that folks can't afford. But in fact, we have a line of top quality 1911s built completely from a block of steel, very high tolerances in the $3,500 to $4,000 range, which is still the upper end of the market.
Yeah.
But obtainable by the standards of many of the other guns that we build. We entered that market where pound for pound we wanted to come in with the best technical product that has been built in that class, and I think we've done that. So you'll see new guns like our American Joe Jr., which is a commander-size version of our classic. Then a new gun called our Vintage Classic, which is a very blend of a nostalgic 1911 with a new thermochemical finish that we developed that is very reminiscent of a vintage 1911, but state-of-the-art. And then, of course, we have a suite of left-handed 1911s, which are also available in the $4,000 range. And most importantly, our S103 Commander, which just got a best-in-class rating from Truth About Guns.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing all those come out. I've still got my eye on that American Joe. I've been staring at that back post over there for the entire time. But I really appreciate you for joining me, Rob. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. And, and by the way, I'll be waiting for those donuts.
they're on their way.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Rise and roll donuts, Fort Wayne.
All right, and when we come back, joining us would be Mr. Darren Lasorte himself. You guys asked for him. You got him back. He'll be joining us.